Oh, is that a challenge I hear? You must not have seen a full British garden in bloom then. The roses, daffodils, thistles, and bluebells make for a grand display under the right care.
I think they are much too bright.
Okay, it is a little bit different now.
Oh, do elaborate. I've never heard anyone call it that way.
Just the way you present your flowers, that is. They are beautiful still. But I think they lack the softness and elegance of the chrysanthemums and cherry blossoms that I have grown up seeing.
Do you work in the gardens then?
Because that would explain why she's so unfamiliar to me. I don't meet much of the staff, if at all, preferring they remain invisible until they're a necessity. The gardeners especially, as I only really go out to take care of Mother's daffodils and ask that I be left alone under those circumstances.
Oh, not at all. Although I do wish I were. I do enjoy working with plants quite a lot. Not that I am unhappy to be at your service, my lord, but no. I work for the lady of the house and carry out what she requests of me.
Lady of the house? Is that what the old hag, housemaid, telling the other staff to call in now? Not surprising, really. That woman's always been an upstart, self-important biddy who doesn't know her place. She should really give up, retire, and enjoy whatever's remaining of her years. At her age, she wouldn't even manage even a position in the Queen's staff. Not that I don't respect that woman, of course. She and I are much alike. Except I succeeded in rising up the ranks of society, whereas she failed. And how she despises me for that fact. Her pride probably refuses her a graceful exit, and I don't really care all too much about her employment, until such time as the government forces me to retire her. With how old she is, she's always complaining about pains and aches, and about young people. She's a difficult character, and she only acts real tolerable around Hannah. Not that that'd be a thing anymore since... Oh, now I'm just in a terrible mood.
Errand girl for Her Majesty, then? That job must be a right pain in the arse. I heard she runs her assistants ragged, probably killing you real so she can absorb your life essence in the hopes that it'll make her youthful.
She has her undesirable moments, but I am grateful enough. I have a roof over my head and bread to eat, though certainly the compensation the household provides for us is not lacking. It is generous for me. Too much. Too much for someone as lowly as I. I did not mean to imply insult, my lord. I'm simply...
I wave it off. Accusation that I'm paying my employees less than proper are often unfounded. I like to think I'm fair with my wages. And it doesn't seem she meant any harm by it, but...
You do not look too happy. I really did not mean to upset you.
I don't know, man. Like, I'm sure you pay alright, but I would expect to be paid, you know, danger pay and stuff on the off chance that you decide to have me murdered. And all that, you know.
The lady of the house will surely be furious if she hears of this.
Oh, relax. That old hag isn't going to know because I'm not a snitch. But to be frank, I'm just wondering what you're here for. It's a nice day. A lovely lady like you should be out on the city with some lucky bloke.
Apologies. I did not mean to bother you. I thought you would appreciate the company, what with the rains about to return.
And if I do not appreciate the company, if I wish to be alone, don't you think I came out here for a purpose?
I did nothing to mask my indignance now. If this were any other time, maybe if she was someone else, I'd try to be a tad bit civil for a while longer. But if my foul temper would make her run off, all the better. I don't need servants or their imposters nosing about my business. As she stays unperturbed, if anything, she roots herself to the spot, still and sullen. She looks at me in quiet appraisal while I try my best to see if I can just ignore her. A difficult feat as her stare makes my skin crawl. And what she says next sends a chill up my spine.
But, my lord, that is not what I see. Loneliness casts shadows in your eyes and sharp lines on your face. I see a man who is thinking of the woman he loves. You miss her. You regret. Though I cannot fathom why. She did not deserve you.
With the money and power I have, it's no big surprise that there's a target painted on my back. There have been few times that someone has tried to take care of me. I've been personally insulted before, called a bastard and a demon. They think angering me will make me slip. The very fact that they do try to get rid of me is insulting enough as it is. But this is different. Nobody's spoken to my mother before to get to me, because nobody knew of her. As far as the greater public is concerned, I'm the son of Damien Wright, and whoever was unlucky enough to bear me was nothing but an unfortunate footnote in the history of our family.
Who are you? Who sent you? What do you want? How do you know about my mother?
The venom in my voice is apparent, as is the confusion in hers.
Your mother? No. I speak of the woman you wed. Her death was a blessing.
But I don't know if this is any better. I can feel the blood leaving my face. We'd sent the others away for this exact reason, to give us time to cover up her disappearance. Her corpse, even. But if she knew about it, well, she has to be taken care of.
What? How did you?
Without drawing too much attention to it, I reach for the mobile in my pocket. One press would be all it takes to call the other man here, so that we can get rid of the pest. I'd do it myself, but I'm unarmed, near defenseless. But my phone isn't here.
I'm going out for some fresh air. If anybody calls, tell them they can sod off and bother me another day.
Of course, of all the times for me to ditch the bloody thing. But I should be able to take care of one woman, right? There's nobody but Johans and I on the property, far removed from the village and the rest of society. A fist to the throat, a quick twist to the neck, a blade to the jugular. Though, forget that last one. Unfortunate for me, I don't have my knife either. But looking back at her, I freeze in place.
Is something the matter? You look affright.
What? The fuck? I try to scream, but it's stuck in my throat.
Please do not torment yourself. You have nothing to worry about. I would never harm you. This home still needs its lord, our prince. Come, my lord, the house beckons.
Gone was the beautiful woman, and in her place is this grotesque witch, this monster, surreal and horrifying. That's it, I've gone mad. Driven crazy by guilt for the sins I've committed. And this is the devil that would torment me for all eternity. But even the idea that this is all a dream, a nightmare, doesn't stop me from flinching away at her touch. It definitely doesn't stop me breaking off into a run. I can still feel her eyes on me as I run back to the house. But I refuse to acknowledge it, let alone look back. All I need is to get away from her and make sure she stays away. And if it means acting like a coward and seeking out company to keep me safe, nobody can tell me to do otherwise. Bravery isn't something to be lauded if it comes along with stupidity. I remember this conversation. Well, we've seen all this, so we should be able to skip ahead, I'm hoping. There's a time and a place for keeping appearances. The time when one's life is on the line is not one of them. Mustering up the courage, I look back through the windows to see if she's following me. She's gone. I feel relieved, though I really shouldn't be. Stopping to catch my breath, Johan suddenly appears, nearly makes me jump out of my skin.
Don't fucking do that, you son of a bitch! If I had a gun, I would have shot you!
If I had any love left for my mutter, I'd take offense. But what happened to you? You look like you've seen a ghost.
Oh, if only it was such a delusion. But I can feel the faintest touch of her fingers. The feeling was too real for it to have been a ghost.
In the garden, there was a woman.
And there's always a woman with you, isn't there?
That's not what I mean. Listen, she knows. She knows that Hana is dead.
Strange. The house was empty. Is empty. I made sure of that. Can you describe this woman?
Are you deaf? I told you she knows that Hana is dead. What does it matter what she looks like? What is this with this interrogation anyway? Do you not believe me?
It matters what she looks like so you can find her. Frustration bleeds into my very being when he just raises a brow at me. What does it matter what she looks like unless we're gonna look for her? Oh, of course. But I have to fight off the panic as I try to recall her features. I hurry up the stairs into the east hallway with the butler at my heels. All this just to get as far away as I physically can from the gardens before I dare speak of her again.
She had pale skin, dark eyes, and long dark hair. She wouldn't give me her name.
And did she know who killed the madam?
It didn't seem like she knew who it was. But she still knows that Hana is dead. You know I'm not gonna do well if I go under investigation right now.
Ruhe bitte, calm down and think, right? Think. The body hasn't been moved. She must have been near it to know of it. If she knows there's a corpse, we can go about this two ways. Either we find her and take care of her, or we...
Make her take the fall. That's all well and good. Brilliant. But there's just one thing.
The hairs on the back of my neck stand on end at the mere thought of that woman. I don't know if it was a trick of the light, but I don't think I was imagining things. And though he might think me a lunatic, I can only go on.
Well, she was this thing. A monster. A witch. I know how it sounds. I sound like... okay, fuck. It sounds like I've gone off my rocker with all that's happened.
I expect to hear disregard, concern for my mental state, and maybe even empty platitudes regarding my guilt. But instead the other man grows deathly silent, a thoughtful look on his face.
I would normally say that seeing hallucinations is a normal human experience, even if this does not sound like a bereavement hallucination. But the woman you described is familiar. I've seen her before in the mansion. Glimpses.
I was wondering if he'd been seeing things, because he should have been, right?
Is she one of ours then? You must know her name now that you know what she looks like.
I thought at first that her name may have merely slipped my mind. I've asked the head housemaid to reprimand her, for she was always loitering about when I saw her. But the old woman confirms. We do not have anyone fitting the description under our employ.
So what I saw, what you saw, what was that? I don't understand. Explain, Shurkin. Please tell me I'm not going mad.
Mad.
We will have a head count of the female staff in the morning, and I'll assign stricter security protocols when the staff returns. It's better we rule things out before jumping to conclusions. I will have to check for tampering as well.
Tampering?
Psychotropic drugs to start off with, perhaps in the water supply. I suggest you not worry yourself about it. You are unharmed. That is what matters right now. If it makes you feel any better, I'll stand guard outside for the night.
No, that does nothing to make me feel better. If that woman was a hallucination, a waking nightmare, what could a guard do to stop her from appearing before me once more? If she comes into my dreams, I loathe to think I would need to cry for help like an infant in need of his mother. A tense silence befalls us, and though I don't dare speak it out loud, I would say that we both seem scared. Often I'm the first to break anything of the sort, but...
Shall I put them in a vase?
I'm confused before I realize what I have in my grip.
What? Oh, these? I didn't realize I still had them.
I really did not. But they were still there, in my grip. The daffodils I'd taken from the garden. Even in the wake of my flight, I'd refused to let go of them, whether I was conscious of it or not. They should be for Mother. They could be for Hana too, but does it even matter? What does a dead woman care for flowers? I suppose Hana would have loved them.
No, I think I'll take them with me. And if you don't mind, I'm going to turn in for the night.
Of course. I shan't keep you any longer. I'll be out here if you need anything.
I don't care enough to show any signs that I've heard him, retreating into the master bedroom without another word. The bouquet of daffodils is quickly placed before the nursery door. It's almost hilarious how I'm worried about a woman more than I am the fact that there is a corpse in the next room. But even as worry for her still keeps me on edge, I feel exhaustion come over me. Not bothering to strip of my clothes, I fall on the bed tired and alone. The sickly sweet scent wafting in from the nursery has kept me awake through most of the night. It's intoxicating and nauseating in equal parts. The body is yet to be disposed of, mostly my fault. I have too much to take into account before I rush to a decision. Though perhaps the whole ordeal is being made more complex by my sleep-addled brain. I can't be bothered to rise from bed, even when the sun, what little there seems to be today, peeks through the curtains. I don't want to handle any of it. Not Hana's body, not the security, not Kylie visiting. Right now, all I want is to actually get some sleep. Still, the thought of that woman from yesterday and the danger that she presented was enough to keep me from even trying. So suffice to say, I'm not very happy that anyone would dare separate me from my true love, the bed. The rain that has started sometime during the night didn't help the mood. Okay, maybe it helps a little. The strange sunny weather has been nice and all, but for it to return as it should be feels like a good sign of things to come. Perhaps things will settle back to normal and the crazy drama that has gone on lately will die down. The rhythmic pitter-patter of the rain fills the early morning silence with a steady beat. Thank goodness I don't have to be anywhere in a hurry today. I'd hate to be caught unawares in this rain. With how it looks outside, it seems that the weather is making up for all the sunny days it has given us with a good old-fashioned downpour. It does let up with within the quarter of an hour. However, a day beginning with a cloud burst like this, Locals usually take it as an immediate sign. Luxborn's abysmal weather is back, likely for good. Yay! There's this rubbish about how the heavens cry when with you through the rain. If anyone's sentimental enough knows of what I've done, they probably spout this stupid thought my way. Well, I think it's a load of bull. Hana would probably roll in her grave at the thought that the heavens made it rain for her. You know, she hasn't even actually made it to a grave yet. In fact, she probably never will. She's going to adorn your daffodils or whatever. So she'll never get to roll in her grave. Because she'll never have a grave. She was never one for the dreary weather, always enjoying the scarce sunshine on rare sunny days. She'd been loving the abnormally sunny week thus far. If only things had not come to this. But it's already far too late to regret everything, and thankfully, somebody interrupts before I can start brooding on the what-ifs. Perhaps the only time I can appreciate the man's insufferable prying.
Are you really going to stay in bed all day?
What do you want?
You must have been really rattled by what happened yesterday. If you need to talk about it, I am quite qualified in that regard.
And you aren't even the slightest bit bothered? Truly? Not even the slightest bit worried?
I was worried. But I realized that it's not my life in danger, is it? My worrying will not help matters. Neither will yours.
Excuse me. The detached manner in which he admits this annoys me to no end.
Oh, as a matter of fact, it is your life in danger. Because if I find you lacking, if that woman finds their way anywhere near me again, you'll be following in the footsteps of your predecessor. Are we clear? Do what you have to. In fact, it'd be best if you keep busy. Do what needs to be done, and if I see you even idling for 1 second, I won't be happy.
He doesn't say anything. There's no witty retort. It isn't a threat, but a promise, after all. I don't take kindly to incompetence, especially when it comes to affairs that affect my very safety. I will kill if it ensures that I live.
Are there any updates about the woman?
Being in the dark has me on edge. Information, any at all, may very well help me in calming down.
I've already briefed security about her, and more from the agency will be arriving tonight. But they haven't seen anyone fitting the description.
So you have nothing then? Fat lot of use you guys are. What do I even pay you for? Do me a favor. There's the door. Don't let it hit you on your way out.
Well, there is something. It's about McCulloch.
Can anyone blame me if I show the tiniest bit of interest? She's still not done with the house, and she's a nice enough woman. Plans to go back to sleep are gone.
I called her secretary about taking the day off. He hasn't heard from her over the weekend.
She's probably passed out after enjoying a pint or 2 or 10 in a bar somewhere. She's an adult. It was the weekend. She's allowed to disappear and not think about work. Fuck, I wish I was passed out after a night of drinking. He does know that mobiles are a thing.
That's all well and good, but she's not answering her mobile either. Mr. Parker will be filling a missing persons case with the police if she doesn't turn up today.
Harley will be here shortly too, but we should be able to skip all of that, right? Certainly someone must know where she is. Yeah, thought so. They're not welcome in this house. The niggling voice in the back of my head starts loudly, though its presence is both unwanted and unnecessary.
If they come to investigate her disappearance, what will we be doing with the madam?
Here we go. Because if they come to investigate her disappearance, well, we don't want them snooping about the house. Not until dearest Hana is taken care of, because I'm the fool who can't let her go. It's ridiculous that I'm so sentimental about something that amounts to nothing more than rotting meat. As it is, the body is still decomposing on the inside, internal organs being the first to go. If anybody found her, they might still think she's only sleeping. First sign of flies and maggots aside anyway. It's been less than 48 hours, but give it a day or two and the thing will only get worse. Hour. My bedroom almost already smells like rotting fruit. The scent is faint and lingering. It's persistent, even with all that Johans has done to decontaminate the place without touching the body itself.
Leave it for tonight. I'll think of something by then. Until then, I want you on top of everything. Now, if we're done here, I'd like to go back to sleep and...
Oh, there goes any plan of grabbing some shut-eye. Rolling over on my stomach, I can only scream into my pillow.
Of course, of course.
Screw what Hana said, she's dead now.
Johans, distract her.
Oh, look, it's time for...
Yeah. And I nearly did, really. It's hard to remember something as trivial as an ordinary playdate when there's murder fresh on one's mind. But there's this instinct, long ingrained, to act as if everything's normal despite the blood on my hands. Else I would have spiraled out of control a long time ago, and things wouldn't be as good as they are now. Besides, she's a bright child, tolerable, kid's got a good head on his shoulders, etc. We should be able to skip nearly to the end now. My darling Hannah loved her so, and Kylie does try to be a good goddaughter. She just can't keep her interest long with the wife, yeah. We're just getting single lines of new text, but other than that, it doesn't change much.
Theo, she's still sleeping in bed again? Is she gonna join us later?
Be lying if I said I'm not worried about going on with this line of questioning. I honestly am not expecting her to ask about her godmother. For all that Hannah was her actual godparent, she isn't as fond of her as she is of being. For a moment, paranoia fills my mind. It's suspicious of her to ask about a dead woman for no reason. I do realize this is ridiculous to think a child is a threat to me. Her father might be putting her up to it. Will find dirt on me, my mind supplies. I'm not too disillusioned to think that the people working under me are actually loyal to me to any extent. I can't stop myself from being defensive.
What do you care? You've never asked for her before.
Mama's been asking about her. She hasn't visited for a while.
There's a shrug, and some sense to her words. If it doesn't relieve some of the tension from me, nothing else will.
I don't know where she is, Munchkin. She's probably off somewhere doing grown-up things.
That makes sense. Tia does a lot of boring grown-up stuff. There's always a boring grown-up parties. You must be happy you're not doing a boring grown-up thing right now thanks to me.
Hey, I'm doing a grown-up thing. I'm taking care of you, aren't I, you little rugrat?
I'm still on edge, but it's easy enough to put on a carefree mask once I get a grip on myself. The roll of her eyes and the way she looks at my doodles in a false, serious manner helps too.
Oh, your drawing doesn't look grown-up to me.
Oh, kids, man. Nevertheless, like any child her age, the line of questioning doesn't exactly stop.
Is Tia still asleep? I want to give her this pretty drawing I made for her.
And I know they can't help it, but they don't know where to cross the line out of genuine and innocent curiosity. Yet that doesn't stop me from snapping.
Tia isn't here, alright?
So where is Tia?
She's not anywhere that I know of. Probably at another party, shaking hands and all that.
But she's coming home soon at least, right, Tio?
Enough, you little brat! Can we just...
I don't know where Hannah is. It's the official excuse for when her disappearance is looked into. It's easier to claim ignorance and have a lack of liability if foul play is ever suspected. There'll be no mens rea or actus reus if I spin the whole affair to make myself the clueless bystander. It'd be easier to manipulate the story if I remove myself from it, whichever way we choose to deal with this mess. But I've been blindsided by the interrogation of a child. Whispers in my ear conspire.
Silence her.
Are you serious?
End her.
I have to shake my head to clear away the thoughts. She didn't deserve my anger for such innocent questions. Because this is just a kid. This is Kylie, for fuck's sake. I don't need to silence her. I had to...
Let's just have fun, alright? I'm so sorry, Kylie. Please don't cry. I didn't mean to.
I raised both my hands in a non-threatening manner, trying to placate her, only for her to take a step away, wide-eyed and terrified. This look on her face just crushes something in me. She doesn't let me say anything more than that before she runs away crying about wanting to call her father, about wanting to go home. Her crowns and toys lay strewn about, forgotten. Even Narcissa is left behind. She never leaves her doll behind if she can help it, and now it's looking at me, accusing. I never shouted at her before. I had no right. And even if I wanted to deny it, some part of me was about to raise my hand to her when I promised a long time ago that I would never harm a child. Miss Pink was wrong about me, it looks like. I'm a horrible guardian. I'm not good with kids at all. Or good, period. I just can't help this awful energy that's taken over me. I feel so angry and tense and...
Ah, Sisa, what is wrong with me? Am I going mad?
I don't think I can spend any more time with Kylie considering how high-strung I feel. Skip. Get to the end this time, I think. Oh. Interesting. She nearly drops her tray as she enters the lady's bedchambers. The lady's been taken against the wall like a common street whore. The man is not her lord, her prince, but she is not of a station that will allow her to judge. That doesn't keep the shock from her features or her voice. Milady, I brought the...
My apologies.
Her voice is small, subdued and shy. Though the lady needs no words to express her displeasure as her face turns from one of pleasure to that of anger and accusation. Her glare burns, focused and scolding. If looks could murder, the servant girl would be dead where she stands. All the while, her lover still moves in and out of her, either unaware of their audience or enjoying the act even more because of it. My heart feels like it's seizing in my chest, like it's being squeezed and the pressure won't stop until it bursts.
Are you truly storming off over some hearsay? Be sensible!
What you did, it is... There are no words. You bring disgrace to this family. This rotten noble standing in front of me is not the cousin I grew up with. This is not the lady I fell in love with. She would never do such unspeakable things, Charlotte!
I bring disgrace. I bring disgrace. I am not the idiot who's running off in the middle of the night. You promised, Edward. You gave me your word. Don't you dare turn your back on me. I swear to you, if you step 1 foot out of these lands, mark my words, Edward, I will.
What? What is it you swear? Will your men steal me away? Defile me too, like what you did to yourself?
There's an undercurrent of fear. I'm in danger. My head screams at me. And there is a hurt. A deep burning shame I can only feel on the woman's behalf. Looking at her on its own is a chore I cannot bear. Whispers and accusations fill every crevice of my head, ringing and echoing around like a terrible case of tinnitus. They stare, gazes filled with judgment and disgust. Even before their beloved lady has spoken, she's already condemned.
This horrid woman! I beg the court for justice!
Oh, I see. So the lady that caught them is the one that is the ghost lady.
Who knows what this devil's bride is capable of? She has already bewitched my love, my betrothed. I just cannot bear to think of what she has done to him after. Or what else she may do to our people if we let her live. Blood taints this woman's hands, and I deserve to be repaid in kind for that which she has taken from me.
There's nothing for her but death, and she knows this. Her silence says as much. One after another they come at me, an unending flood that threatens to sweep me away for what feels like an eternity. Each one a show of both joy and suffering for those who have called this mansion their home. Each new scene is like a hammer to the head, threatening to crack my skull and split it in two. I can feel every little emotion in the blurry images that present itself in my head. I feel a part of these, like I've lived through them, though I know it's not possible. All their anger burns through me, that much is evident, but the pain more so. And above all of it are the whispers, the voices calling, luring, until one image emerges in vivid contrast with the others. When there's a shout of joy, my eyes snap open looking for the culprit. That's when the whole room just changes. Everything is the same, yet everything isn't. There are people everywhere, laughing and dancing. I should be concerned about them. I remember this bit. Skip.
You're one of us, my lord. We are bonded by the blood we've shed.
If I thought the voices were overwhelming before, it's nothing compared to how they are now. Their voices are loud, speaking in unison, echoing over every space in my head. They welcome me back as if I've always belonged, as if I've meant to be here in the first place. We don't need that.
The balcony is clear.
Thank you, Shrocken. And he's thorough, looking in the closets and under the bed, even going so far as to look in the nursery. But it is with that he comes back silent. Johan's eyes scan the room warily, searching to see if he missed something.
What have you done with the madam?
What do you mean?
The body. It isn't there.
What? Last I checked, it's still there. It's not like anybody knows where the fucking body is. Did it just stand up and walk away? Got tired of being dead and decided to unkill itself?
It isn't there. That must mean it's somewhere else. No shit, Sherlock. And the house is crawling with guards, none of who knew that Hannah is already dead. I feel the colour drain from my face, but before I can take a step out, he raises a hand to stop me from charging out there.
Stay.
Stay? Do you see the problem we have here, Shroken? Are your eyes open, Shroken? Do you see the problem we're having here, Shroken?
With my own eyes.
What the bloody fuck are you still doing there, then? Hannah's corpse. A corpse is missing. If anyone else finds that bloody body, we are going to have an even bigger problem than Suarez's company leak.
which is why I'm asking you to calm down. This isn't...
You do not understand, do you? Okay, everything is at stake here.
Money, reputation, connections, the company I've built. Everything. There's no second thought as I reach under my side of the bed and pull out one of my knives. I have no doubt that the other man can take me on if we're both unarmed, but with this, I can even the field. Or at least deter him from escalating the situation and risk hurting either of us.
I'm going out there to look for that damn fucking body, and you're either with me or you're fucking fired! I am not risking anything. I am not losing everything.
Still, like a stubborn mule, he refuses to budge from the door. There's a withering look on him that I try to match. One that somehow I'm losing fast to, even with him not saying a word yet.
Can you see yourself in the mirror right now? You're in no proper state to go looking for anyone, let alone your wife's dead body. If it will make you happy, I will do the looking. But please, and don't make me repeat this, stay where it's safe, where security can find you. We already have one matter to be worried about. Please don't add another one to it.
We're getting to the end here. Perhaps it's his tone. In spite of his general disdain for virtually everything that has to do with me, I like to think over the years he has grown some sense of duty to his employer at least. Much as I loathe to admit this, I trust him over any other 7 in this house. So in acquiescence.
You have 2 hours, Shrokin. I don't think it'll take that long to find one lifeless fucking corpse in this godforsaken house. 2 hours. Any more than that, I'll do it my fucking self.
Of course.
Despite his words, he lingers. If I didn't know any better, I'd say he wants to make sure I get in the damn bed and sleep before he turns away from me. What am I, a child? Watching me and treating me like one? There's a reason why we'll never get along.
Well, what are you waiting for?
Nothing. I just hope you're happy.
Verily, now mush!
As you wish.
Only then does he seem to get the hint. With a nod, he leaves, locks and closes the door behind him. For a moment, I still hear his voice while he gives the guards outside firm instructions. Then a hush as soon as he departs and his footsteps fade away. One that doesn't quite last. As quickly as the silence settles, lightning flashes across the sky, following immediately the loud boom of thunder. And that wanker strikes so dangerously close that I can feel the electricity in the air. The power goes out not a second later, and I feel as if I've been mocked by whatever greater power there is. All is deathly still for a moment, but soon the rain starts once again. Far heavier than the light drizzle from this morning, it's patter-patter, hitting hard against the place's roof. Despite the noise, I find myself drawn to my bed, exhausted, hoping for a little nap. I'm safe here. Shrokin will find her, and when I wake, I won't have to worry about, and if anything to worry about. It doesn't take long. Once my head hits the pillow, in a matter of minutes, darkness claims me, bringing with it laughters and whispers of a twisted love from a time long gone. Alright, we're finally at the very ending here. I don't know how much of Luke's stuff I'm going to keep in. Quite a lot of it's different, but only because Hana's not there anymore. So it's not super different, but I'll work it out. He's already a prey trapped by his own recklessness.
And really, Daisy, even you, what would Kylie say?
Luke, this isn't what you're thinking. You have to listen to us. There's something going on here.
Well, obviously, why else would people be trespassing in my home? What about little Lily over there, then? What's your excuse? Checking back if your clients are doing okay? Is that it? Is this what this is? Oh, we're doing good, by the way.
Sir, please.
We can tell.
Oh, please, what?
Becca's right, sir. We need to get out of this place. You need to leave.
Not a good enough excuse, darling. You people are the ones who need to get out of my sight. Don't worry, I might consider pressing lighter charges for the woman. Can't say the same for the rest of you. But really now, I swear the people of this city need to be taught the meaning of privacy. This is how you want to start the week. Why don't we just go with a bloody massacre if we want to surprise people in their homes?
Just a passing remark, of course. I'm not stupid enough to do something that'll bring negative attention to myself. Reputation and all that, I just can't risk it. The thought of having more dead bodies here, it's already quite too much. It'll literally be overkill, especially for someone like me. Nevertheless, joke or not, Feathers wastes no time drawing his own gun at the slight. Even if he knows it's already too late. He glares at me. Still he fights back.
Now, Feathers. Manners. You're in no position to be pointing that gun at people.
There's no desperation in him like I'm hoping, just an annoyance, flickering shortly before being hidden underneath a challenge. The likes of him are the kind of people I hate the most. Even with their failures already glaring down at them, mocking every worthless move they make, they have the impudence to stare people in the eye.
Why don't you put yours down first, and then we'll talk about manners.
Oh, he talks back. The gall! You know, your kind pisses me off so much.
Annoying most of the time, like a damn pest you can't be rid of. But to some degree it is commendable. I'll give him that. After all, we're almost the same in that regard. Almost. I'm still the better person, of course. In what way are you a good person? He tells me to put the gun down, but I see no reason why I should. I'm the homeowner. In defense of my own home, I have the right to. I'd like to think. Questionable permit of firearms aside. Well, I mean, I don't know where this is set. Well, I mean, obviously it's set in England. I mean, England's gun laws are probably the same as ours. No, you're not allowed to shoot someone if they come into your house. It's not like I wanted this, but I'm already high-strung and their presence does not help. Bloody peasants. I can never seem to figure out how their minds fully work, and I should have also expected that he won't let this end in some kind of standstill.
Sorry about this. I really don't have time for you.
A short lapse is all it is. One moment of letting my guard down. Before I can react, he fires 2 shots in quick succession. A sound cracking through the empty foyer, almost as loud as the storm raging outside, breaking the tense air in the room. Pain explodes in my wrist 2 seconds later. Just a graze, however, it's enough to cause my fingers to tense, and the pistol slides to the floor with a dull thud.
Why, you insolent!
The next moments happen in a blur, and the following second I'm being tackled bodily to the ground. Back hitting the cold floor hard and an arm pinning me down by the neck. There's a fleeting minute of panic and I struggle while I try to untangle myself from him before he manages to knock me out. And then, a scream. A wail piercing through the thick air, shrill and sharp enough for the both of us to cover our ears and hunker down for our knees. And with each sharp note beating harshly against my head are the images again. Faces and voices so utterly unfamiliar, seeping into every crevice, turning sinister with each shift. They're not mine, but they might as well be with how vivid and crisp they appear. Over and over they all flash behind my eyes until it becomes unbearable. Pounding, throbbing, thudding against my skull, worse than any headache a hangover can give. Bloody, I'll take a hangover over this any day. A haze begins to fill my vision as black spots dance around the corners of my eyes. Beside me the detective suddenly moves, shouting a name I don't quite hear, and then...
Ash!
In the next second he falls, down on one knee, desperately trying to keep himself up with what strength he has left. But eventually his own body caves in, taking the horror... I can't say that. Muttering quietly, taking Zack down with him, muttering quietly to him as something distinctly red flows from his body. Blood? The man isn't supposed to be dead yet. He isn't supposed... I didn't shoot him, I'm sure of it. So what killed him? What in bloody blazes is going on here? Is it so wrong to just want a quiet night where nothing needs attending to? Just one normal night? Quickly, everything has turned crazy with perilous happenings that are hard to explain, but it seems that when it comes to me, death is always around the corner. I want to look him over. This is going to cause more problems. All this screaming and crying for a detective who's died for no apparent reason has given me a migraine. I need to get all these people out of my house one way or another. But in the blurry mess of my vision, none of this registers enough to compel my body to move. Nothing does. Except for the voice unexpectedly ringing above the discord, and when I finally gather the strength to look up, everything falls away in the background. All that matters is her.
I told you, didn't I? Everything you're doing is useless, Ashton Frey. And now, you're dying.
Hannah? You're not supposed to be here.
For a moment I wonder if it had been me who had died, and not her. After all, that can be the only logical explanation as to why I draw breath while hardly draw breath while she stands there. Of course, another logical explanation would be that I'm high, and this is a really, really bad trip. Either reason doesn't suit me. Though it can be very well the former. Even from down here I see the blood that stains her dress. Seeing that makes me feel as if my hands are covered in them once more. Warm and sticky, sweet and sickly.
Oh, Luke, darling, my love. You look so upset. Are you not happy to see me?
Well, let's be honest here. Any explanation, any reason as to why a dead woman walks once more is a bad one to me. Especially when it's one I've killed. I mean, how even?
How can this be? You're...
Do you not find my presence desirable anymore, my love?
What sort of sick joke is this?
Tell me what's wrong, my dear prince. Does my presence leave you so speechless?
She says this with a smile on her face. Tiff and forced, a dead man's body parts doesn't seem as malleable as they would on a living human. She takes a step forward and her movements are stiff and choppy. Like a corpse being forced into position despite the rigor mortis, like the corpse that she should be. I find my voice once more once she takes a careful step forward. Just the thought of that thing approaching me makes my skin crawl. She stops to listen, fixated on my voice and my words.
No, you're not. You're not supposed to be here. You can't be here. You're dead.
The "I killed you" is left unsaid considering present company.
And I have returned. For you.
You don't have to do this. You can still have it all, Luke. Just please. Don't you love me? We would have been so beautiful.
I can still hear her pleas as she begs me not to be rid of her. Not once I've forgotten this particular crime of my own. No matter how much I wash my hands, I can still see her blood on them. She's dead. That's an irrefutable fact, and nothing short of the devil would bring her back.
Why are you acting this way, my love? Does this not make you happy?
I feel like there's something lodged in my throat, and my heart feels like it's being sat on with how tight my chest feels.
Of course I'm happy to see you again, Hannah. Of course I love you, Hannah. But how do I know you're... How do I know you're you, darling?
Whatever do you mean? You look perturbed. Why not come here? I can make you feel better.
If by act of some malevolent god she was back, I don't think she would take too kindly to what I'd done to her. That certainly isn't what I would expect. Not the fixed gaze or these loving words. There is no accusation in them, no anger. And Hannah has every right to look at me so. My guilt is overshadowed by the oddity of these illogical circumstances.
No, stay where you are, stay back! Don't go near me! Don't touch me!
Is that the rejection which turns her expression absolutely fearsome, and everything turns to complete and utter shite?